Hello, I'm Fantastic and today I'm going to be talking about the new and exciting event that debuted yesterday. So yesterday marks the start of all players receiving 1 or 2 special 6-star Fest exchangeable medals to be redeemed through the Monster Exchange system. Now, that means for 4 weeks, players will be given the chance to acquire a 6-star Godfest exclusive of their choice with a special medal. And these stack up and can be carried over into subsequent weeks because every week there'll be a different lineup or roster what is featured. And that means if you really wanted to, you could, if it happened to be the best thing for your box, is redeem all your medals in week 4. But of course, that may not necessarily be the case. But just remember, if there's nothing in a current week that appeals to you, just save it and wait for a subsequent week. And the biggest question I feel in most players' minds will be, what should I acquire? Because there are so many choices. Well, the best course of action I feel as a blanket statement is pick the card you do not have. Getting your very first copy of an individual card will fulfill possibly new holes in your monster box. Like, it will plug those holes. Gives you access to something you couldn't have replicated otherwise. So I'm always a strong advocate of acquiring something new for the first time being quite meaningful. With that being said, let's just go with the presumption that you have absolutely nothing in your monster box whatsoever. I'm going to be going through the cards that I feel are a bit stronger and should be the ones you prioritize in acquiring. So, the weekly lineups will change, and basically you need to make sure you find which time slot, so to speak, or week slot features the card that you actually want to Monster Exchange for. So the top is the current weeks. So that means if you wanted to acquire for some reason a bunch of A10s, you'd have to wait for week 4. And remember, these 6-star Fest exchangeable medals do not go bad. So if you don't use anything in week 1, you can use them in subsequent weeks. So who to exchange for? Again, I want to repeat that everyone's individual monster box is unique to their own situation, and acquiring something for the very first time is often quite meaningful compared to a duplicate of a card. Of course, there can be some exceptions with the Cottons and Nays because they do have many different weapon assists and they are covering different colors. But regardless of all that, I'm going to be going through the cards that I feel are a bit more notable, and I'm going under the presumption that you have absolutely nothing in your monster box, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. So the first card I want to draw attention to is Raijin, and Raijin is actually a fantastically powerful leader, and amusingly, she is one of the best examples of going from zero to hero. Raijin in the past was pretty garbage. Like, I think I had one, I never used her, I forgot she existed basically, and then this new evolution came out, and suddenly she became truly magical. Because she has a fantastically strong leader skill and is able to pair efficiently with Fasca for the bigger board to overcome the lack of an RCV multiplier. And Fasca is just a great person to be paired with anyways. It gives you more activation consistency. And Raijin herself has huge personal damage. You have 777 combo with a massive attack stat and triple TPA. Plus, if you inherit a double TPA weapon such as Zerakor's weapon assist, damage output is tremendously high, and she's a fantastic candidate for the VDP latent because she has huge personal damage. She can solve those issues for rainbow-based teams. The next notable card I want to draw attention to is Fujin. Now, Fujin features a, Fujin style active skill, which is damage absorption counter. And damage absorption is probably one of the worst or the worst mechanic ever designed in PAD because you need to have an active skill to overcome it. And if you're someone who has a very, very shallow monster box, this might be the answer you're looking for because it gives you 2 turns of damage absorption counter, which means back-to-back spawns are no longer a problem if you're playing through those early arenas. But even with a 14-turn cooldown, this is definitely quite manageable. And even if you can't for some reason use Fujin as a sub, you could even use her as an inherit. I have used this as an inherit because I needed a 2-turn Fujin on a reasonably short cooldown, and this was exactly what I needed. Now, again, another benefit you could possibly find is utilizing them as a leader because they need to pair with attacker types. So you could pair Fujin with Raijin, and you have a reasonable team as well. Like, it's not bad. Obviously, Raijin Fasca is superior, but it's just another option if you are lacking lots of things in your monster box. The next card from week 1 is Blue Odin. And Blue Odin, I feel, is a tremendously strong mono water sub because they have 4 skill boosts, 4 rows, super blind resist, tape resist, and a 6-turn base cooldown, which makes it easy to inherit something over top of it. They have 8 latent slots, which means you can have a super resist plus 2 SDRs. Great flexibility and utility all around. And the only major glaring weakness I feel with Blue Odin is a lack of skill bind resist, which only becomes an issue if you're using someone like Gung-Ho Yomi or using Lamp as a sub, because they also lack SBR, and then you'd have insufficient coverage. But other than that, a wonderfully strong mono water sub, and I find myself using him on a regular basis. For week 2, the cottons are wonderfully strong to have. Now, I've only shown one cotton image here, but all the cottons in their weapon assist will just change the color of their enhanced orb and change the orb changer that they come with. Basically, you want to use the cotton that is synergistic with the monocolor team you are playing through. But with Cotton, you get a full bind immunity, which is helpful in certain situations, a follow-up attack, which is very situational, but in the off chance that you're playing through something and you don't actually have a follow-up attack somewhere on your team, you can use this weapon assist. And as a weapon assist, it's quite rare to have follow-up attacks, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to have one lying around your monster box. Passive damage for your monocolor team is always helpful, and the active skill is meaningful. You get a 75% damage reduction for one turn, which is meaningful in World of Carnage 2 or Ruler of Hell's Hall because it has many large unavoidable hits, and having it on an 8-turn cooldown is accessible, and well, it's going to save your life. You also get an RCV buff, which again is helpful for overriding any debuffs, and you get an orb changer of changing water to fire and wood to heal for red cotton. Different cottons give different orb changes, but the idea is you make hearts and you make their primary color. So it's never going to be a bad active skill, I feel, overall. And the main drawback, I feel, is, well, if you're not abusing the follow-up attack, it's going to be a lower value weapon assist, I feel. And the evolution materials required for this are quite steep. So if you're someone who's quite new, there's a good chance you probably cannot make this weapon assist. And I wouldn't even encourage you making it unless you know you have a dedicated place for it, because these evolution materials are quite difficult to acquire. For week 3, I find that Dark Cali is a tremendously strong card overall. She can have up to 6 skill boosts, which is pretty magical in itself, and she has 777 combo, so reasonable attack stat overall, so reasonable personal damage. Her active skill gives you 5 turns of unable to match orb effect clearing, so nice utility, and a rainbow board changer, so she's naturally at home on rainbow teams because she provides the huge amount of skill boost to aid your transformation. She now has a balance typing, which means she can be utilized on things like such as Valentine's Ideal, who can utilize balance type cards. So the amount of places you can slot her into has increased, and she's going to aid you in transforming. She's never a bad card to bring overall because that unable to match orb effect is probably something you're going to need to have anyways, and if it's on an 8-turn cooldown with a board changer, it's never going to be bad, quote unquote. And also you get a board unlocked, so you're always guaranteed to have at least a rainbow activation. Another valuable card in week 3 are the Nays, and I think Nay's weapon assist is more universally helpful, at least at this point in time. So they give a skill boost, so all transforming teams love them. They give you 2 recover binds, so that has situational usage. If something gets bound, you can make a row of hearts to clear it. Maybe. It doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it might pan out. And also 3 rows of their respective colors. So those rows are obviously helpful on monocolored teams. And the active skill itself gives you a full HP heal, so that's situationally useful. And clears all bind and awoken binds. So this is definitely helpful. Clearing all the binds and awoken binds is going to aid team building because now you don't have to worry about those mechanics. And especially in World of Carnage 2, you are going to have issues where your leaders get bound for 10 turns and your woken skills are disabled for 1. So this active skill will save or clear all those issues, and it's just flexible to have. The passive damage is always meaningful. It's just a nice solid weapon assist overall, and the fact that it comes in 5 different colors means you want to get duplicates. And for that reason, I feel that Nay and Cotton, you want to acquire duplicates. If you're not sure of who to acquire, get another Nay or get another Cotton, because they are the most useful ones in dupes. But make sure you have at least one of every card first. But then after that, if you're unsure what to do, just get more Nays and Cottons. It's never going to be bad, and I would err on getting more Nays as opposed to Cottons because I feel that Nays weapon assist is a little bit more helpful just because of the skill boost and being more universally useful compared to a follow-up attack. And then lastly, I believe, is A10 for week 4. And A10 is still a strong damage solution. They have a 10 combo, a 7 combo, and 8 killer awakenings. So against a double typing spawn, which is reasonably common, you have 5 times for the 10 combo, 2 times for the 7, so it's 10 times there, and then 3 times per killer. So that goes from 10 times to 30 to 90 times personal damage against any spawn of 2 typings. That's pretty high. Yes, A10 does have a lower attack stat, but hey, when you're having 90 times personal damage, does it really matter that much? And they are obviously a naturally strong contender for the VDP Latent because of their high personal damage. And as a leader, I actually find them quite efficient. They can be paired with Dire, and this is definitely an older pairing, but I've used it to clear plenty of content. It's kind of mindless, especially when you have a VDP Latent. You're just matching on 7x6 and things are dying. You get the auto fall attack, you bypass voids. It's just nice overall. And the main drawback of A10 nowadays is, well, there's no skill boost, so obviously it makes it harder to transform other things, but it's more so the inclusion of monotype spawns. We are starting to see significantly more spawns of only a single typing, which makes A10's damage go down from 90 to 30 times, which is a huge loss of damage output considering the fact that they don't have the best attack stat. And we're also starting to see, especially in Ruler of Hell's Hall, typing or spawns that have typings that A10 doesn't cover. The really weird and niche situational ones tend to be popping up more and more, and A10 has 0 efficiency against them, so that's obviously another drawback overall. But as a whole, still a wonderfully powerful sub to have, can be slotted on various teams as a strong damage solution. Just be mindful of the no skill boost if you are transforming. So as an image reference, I just quickly circled what I felt were kind of the more important ones to get. Again, this is my own personal opinion. Your monster box will dictate what you need to have. And again, if you are missing a card, you should probably try and acquire it because they might get the Raijin treatment. They might just become super powerful in the future. We never know for certain. So pick up what you don't have and then pick up the nays or cottons if you have everything. And if you're lacking multiple stuff, I feel like picking the ones that I've highlighted might be the better course of action. But of course, your individual monster box will dictate what you need. So who am I exchanging for? I am going to get Yogg. Probably 2 Yoggs. I've never got a Yogg in my entire pad life. And I think Yogg is actually pretty strong, especially for mono light teams. It has a powerful active skill, a board changer, skill boost, personal damage. Great card all around. Would have probably helped me out tremendously in old ranking dungeons. But hey, now I can finally complete my dream of 2,700 plus days of playing and have a Yogg. So, in conclusion, this is a wonderful event because we're getting 4 or 8 6-star Godfest exclusives if you own the Pad Pass. And that's wonderful because we get to actually choose it. It's not random. Random rolls tends to be sad. You'll never get what you want. But now you can actually choose who you want. So, with that in mind, let me know who you want to acquire in the comments below. Who are you planning to save up for? Which cards are you missing? What holes do you want to plug within your monster box? Let me know what you think about these events. And obviously, I feel like it would be nice to have more of these events in the future. But other than that, hopefully you all have a fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.